Alright, I'm going to start off by saying that I really do enjoy this bike. I actually love this bike. It was kind of hard coming up with some reasons. I was trying to do 5, but I really could only come up with 3 that I actually, like, really meant. The other 2 are kind of nitpicky ones that I might say at the end of the video, just because, I mean, they're kind of just like, nah, but they are things, so I guess I'll add them to this video. But right now, I'm going to give you number 1. So the first reason, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons, and it's pretty unfortunate for a company, and that is the should-be recalls that they never did on the rotor assembly for these bikes. There is no bike that I can think of other than this bike that the moment you buy it, you have to open up the motor to see if you have a grenade or not. And that is just outrageous in my opinion. I mean, I've never really opened up any other bikes other than this bike as much as I have. Like, I've replaced a clutch, yeah, that's opening the bike up, but I've never gotten down into the nitty-gritty on one of these bikes. And not that the job is that hard to do, it's just unfortunate that when you get a brand new bike, and even just a bike in general, off the used market that's old, that you would have to open the bike up and either A, replace an expensive part, or B, just live with it and hope that it doesn't blow up. Because from my understanding, not even the last year of these that were made contained all of the updated parts. So it's pretty unfortunate for a company. So that is definitely the biggest reason as to why I hate this bike. And had I known about this before I purchased the bike, I mean, I knew that it had a potential issue, but I didn't know that it was pretty much every bike had to be opened up and replaced. And I didn't know all of the issues that could go along with it, like the bearings and stuff that always seem to fail after replacing them. So it's been kind of a big mess, to be honest. And had I known about that in further detail, I probably would have purchased a GSX 1000 or a CB 1000R instead. So that is a huge reason, and that's kind of why I'm getting this message out to people, for those who aren't totally aware of the severity of some of the issues. Some people will say it's not a big issue. To me, you should never have to open up a bike just to see if you got a grenade. So I mean, you can't defy that fact that you have to open it up. And yeah, no other bikes you have to do that on. I mean, that I can think of offhand. If you can think of some, go ahead and put them down in there. I'll let you know if that bike's worth it or not either, but it's not, in my opinion. You should never have to deal with those issues. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to number 2. Now, the second reason for why I hate the second gen Yamaha FZ1 has to do more with a aesthetic look or a styling choice that they decide to give to this bike. And I need to pull over to actually go over it, so we'll find a spot to pull over because it's actually pretty stupid, I think. I mean, I feel like they could have gone about it a lot better way if that was their intended use for it. So let's pull over and I'll show you. Now, if you haven't already noticed, the second thing I hate about this bike is these stupid handles. Look at these things. They just... I mean, it says that their max load is 7 pounds, so I could see that they're using these for, like, using them for tie-downs for if you're touring with the bike. But, I mean, I guess they could be used for the passenger to hold on to. But, they just look stupid, in my opinion. They were kind of growing on me for a little bit, but the more I look at them and just the more I look at the bike... man, they could have made them flow a lot better instead of just making them look purely like handles. Like, flow this down into the bike a little bit, you know? I don't know. Make it look more like the R1Ms or whatever, how they got like the hole through pieces on them, you know, for aerodynamics. Like, these just look stupid in my opinion. So that's one of my biggest gripes looking at this bike. Like, I really didn't like the fairings in the front at first, but they're growing on me. I definitely think that America got screwed on this because the FZ1N is by far the prettier bike. And I think they even got a little like underbelly pan on the FZ1Ns. Yeah, so the FZ1N, I think, even has the better tail section. It's got a two-tone tail section, doesn't have the handles on it, and I think that is what they should have brought to America. I don't know what they thought the market for these bikes would be, but I guess the range for age on these bikes, you know, it varies drastically. Like, I know a lot of older people that ride these because they're great touring bikes, you know. And then also a lot of like hoonigans that will ride these things because they're pretty much an R1, just a little bit of a detune or whatever they did. So, you know, yeah. But that is going to be all that I got to say about these stupid handles on here. So we're going to go ahead and move on to number 3. Look at that tiny Suzuki right-hand drive. Dang, look at this freaking crater right here. About to drop my whole bike in. Oh, I'm stuck. What is this guy doing? Someone behind me yelling at me or something? I don't know what's going on. This guy is riding me pretty hard. I wonder if he was screaming at me. It sounded like someone was screaming at me. All right, now reason number 3 of why I hate this bike is the buzzing. This thing just, it seems like all the plastics buzz at some point. My main gripe about it is, you hear that buzzing right there? And it changes whatever RPM you're in. So that's about like 3,300 RPM. You get to about 4,300 RPM and it'll do the same thing. So that noise is so annoying. And I know I can fix it. I don't know where the other ones are, but I should just go ahead and fix it. I found out, you know, when the buzz happens, I put my hand on stuff and try to figure out what the actual noise is coming from, and I found it to be this speedometer. If you lift up on it, it seems to go away. Oh, mine feels loose on this right side. So that might actually be the issue, and might be the only issue with it. So, but it's still annoying, and I've heard other people saying that they've had similar issues with these bikes, that it buzzes. So it's definitely something I've experienced, and I find it annoying. But yeah, that's reason number 3. It's easily fixable, I feel, but just the fact that you got to do it puts it on this list. So let's go ahead and move on to some of those honorable mentions that I have for this bike. Alright, so the honorable mentions for this, they kind of go hand in hand, and they're not like a major deal breaker, but I feel like there's something that could have been done from the factory just to make this bike that much better, and that is the gearing. Now, this bike really doesn't have a ton of low, middle, and grunt. I mean, it's got a little bit because it's 1,000 cc's, but in the grand scope of things, it's pretty tame up until you get about to 6,000 RPMs, and that's like how your super sports are. You get to about 6,000 or 7,000 RPMs, and then they start to take off like rockets, and hence the name crotch rocket. These will do the same, and I wish it had a little bit more of that in like the 3,000 to 6,000 RPM range, and I think they could have achieved that with gearing. Now, obviously, that's something that I could do as well, but the fact that I have to change the sprockets out is a reason for it to be on this list. And not to mention, if you do a sprocket change, you're gonna have to adjust for your speedometer being off, unless you want to ride around with it constantly being very inaccurate, varying on the speed of which you're going, then you can do that. But you just got to remember, usually it reads slower, or usually it reads faster, excuse me, than you're actually going, so it does help people stay under the speed limit in most cases. But for me, I just want something to read accurate so I know what I'm doing. So you can fix this by getting a speedo healer, and again, that's something you have to purchase and install onto the bike. And if this bike would have just came with different set of gearing to begin with, I want to go race this Ferrari now because it's a Ferrari. All right, sorry, little change of plans here on the video. This thing is sweet. I wonder if he'll even get on it. Probably not. Oh, green light. Let's go. Tribute. I like it. Sorry, I had to. I don't even know where I left off with what I was saying. I wonder if he'll just do a hit. I just want him to hit it once. This thing's sexy. Man, it's a beautiful day out here. And a beautiful Ferrari that does not want to race, but that's okay. All right, let's get back on track, guys. For a second, I lost my cool because that was a pretty sick Ferrari there. But I believe we left off with talking about the gearing on this bike. And what I'll say is I feel like it should have had better gearing from the factory. And then the second honorable mention that I have for this bike kind of coincides with the gearing thing, and that is I feel like the gas mileage is pretty low for this thing. I get it's a super sport, or excuse me, I get it's a liter bike engine, you know, like it's derived from the R1, and so I don't expect it to do great. But even on like my ZX6R and 636 and stuff like that, I'd still get like 37 mpg on those, and I would not ride those things very lightly, you know. I would beat on them pretty good. And I find myself riding well lower in the RPMs on this liter bike than I ever used to on my 600s. So for the gas mileage to be where it's at, and I think it's in like the 30 to 35 range, for it to be like that, I feel like it could easily be a lot better. And again, with the gearing, that could probably make the fuel economy a little bit better too, in my opinion. So that's pretty much what I got for why I hate this bike. To be honest, it was hard coming up with reasons, but I was able to come up with 3 viable reasons for why I hate this bike. And you know, let me know down in the comments if you can agree with any of these, or if you have any of these issues with your current FZ1. And I'd really like to know. Also, if you made it through this whole video and you like what you saw today, please help support me in this channel by smashing that like button and subscribing for future videos. But that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.